Alright, so hello and welcome everybody. It's been a long time since I've streamed. Um, Started with a clean slate basically. So I've been playing Worm Online now for a fairly long time. Taking big breaks in between, of course, just because I live in Canada. So when the summer and spring and fall is warm, I'm taking that time off to spend outside, outdoors. So I don't usually play the game very much during the spring to fall warm months of the year. But in winter is when I get most of my playtime in. Um, that varies, of course. Sometimes I'm still on the game. So what's going on here? First of all, I see. Oh yes. Okay. It's weird. It's not letting me select the wagon. It's very odd. Something to do with OBS running with the game activated, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I'll figure that out later. But, okay, so where to begin? First of all, let's make the map big here. How do I make it bigger? Okay, yeah. Well, that's not quite what I wanted, but whatever. Anyway, you'll see what I mean. So I-15 on Xanadu is where I used to live a long time ago when I first started playing the game. This island in the middle right here. There was one person who lived at this little lake over here somewhere, and we teamed up and created an alliance, and it included a bunch of deeds all around this lake at one time. When that alliance died and I went on hiatus for a while, came back to the game, I ended up moving down to M20, which is right around here, which would be down by, let me see, let me find it first. Believe, yes, down by this little mountain here. It's kind of like a camelback mountain with two humps. And I was right in the little corner here, and I had a deed here. It was a very nice deed, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time finishing the deed, like actually finishing building it, because I got caught up skilling up my skills, and I spent a lot less time actual deed building. So the I ended up going on hiatus again for a while, and at one point I put upkeep on my deed, and then later on down the road I thought I had enough, but I didn't. And for, I guess the deed went poof, and people looted whatever was there that wasn't locked. Um, and all the buildings had disappeared and everything. So basically I had to restart, not totally from scratch, but kinda sorta. I grabbed most of the important stuff that I had that was locked up and brought it with me. I didn't lose too much, so it was alright. Anyway, ended up moving up to I forget the exact coordinate now. I think it's like E20, something like that. Uh, yeah, around there. E19, E20, something like that. And lived with somebody, a friend for a while, and eventually I left that and ended up uh, forming my own deed on the coast, because I've always sort of wanted a coastal deed. That way there I could get quick and easy shipments by the ocean and enjoy the ocean view and the water sound from the ocean, whatever you want to call it. So I ended up coming up by D24, I believe. Yeah, D24 is essentially where I live. So you'll see there's this place called Kangaroo Pouch. I'm pretty close to Kangaroo Pouch. Whoops. Let me pan around here. So right across from Kangaroo Pouch there's a little island. And actually the island over there that I'm looking at is Sleepy's Island. And Kangaroo Pouch is actually back there somewhere. I can't really see it from here, but it's back in this corner. And I'm across on the southern part of the island at my new location, which is D24. So C24, D24. It's kind of like border between the two. Anyway, a nice little spot was empty, abandoned by somebody. Nothing was here except a nice mailbox with a 101 cast on it. So I decided to take this area and, you know, build on it and see how it turned out. So I did a lot of work to it. First thing I did was start to work on this area here. So like, I can walk in here. I can come in with my wagons in here. And basically there's tons of space here to park boats. You know, whatever dirt tiles are where I turned into sand. There's a lot of clay here, so I had to level some of the clay by leveling the adjacent dirt tiles. And dig some slopes and stuff to get the clay slopes ironed out, and then I paved the side walls as much as I could. So this is a nice big area for boats to park. It's all on deed, so if I examine this tile, it's within the village. One tile below it, and it's considered perimeter. So this, as long as you're walking on it, it's considered on deed. So, of course, this is all just flattened out right now, but I'm gonna make actual like docks, like a bit of a docking area here, because it's all part of on deed anyway. And then I'll have a nice little docking area set up. So there's a ramp on the other side, as you saw, that goes up to the rear of the deed, and then there's a ramp that goes up this way. It's just dirt, you know, dirt ramp, no bridges. And then same thing down this side. Now on this side I was actually creating some slopes. And get switched over to my shovel here. I don't know if I could see them. For some reason OBS isn't playing well with this for some reason. Let me see if I can quickly. Ooh, that doesn't look too good. Okay, let's not do that. Unless maybe I do this. Ah, that might work. That might work. No. What does it look like now? Let's see if I can. No. It's not allowing me to select the slope for some reason. I think it's because I'm running SLI. I'm gonna have to take my game off of SLI when I start playing this. here? Just playing with settings, no BS here real quick. Well, whatever. I'll have to figure this later. I probably should have started the stream without SLI. It doesn't seem to play well with OBS. Anyway, these slopes are good enough that when you come up and you park your boat horizontally, you can actually climb up from swimming. So when you swim, you're not stuck, you know, having to click the climb button. So anyway, I'm gonna do the same thing all along here till the very end. This is more like my horizontal parking area. So rather than over there, which is kind of like straight from what, north to south, this is like east-west parking. Reason for that mainly, I get a lot of shipments, so if I get shipments, they can come in here, drop the crates off here. It's quick and easy, and sail off. They don't have to actually physically go dock at the harbor over there once I have that harbor built up. So, and then along here where this dirt is, I'm gonna be sticking grass all along here to make it look half decent. And of course I paved this whole area here. A lot of clay on this side. I need to add dirt to this spot to finish connecting up to here. And then this is all slate paved as well. And then of course I've got the entrance to my mine, which I don't have a door on yet, but I'm gonna put one on. This mine was kind of messy when I came in here for the first time. Somebody just kind of like opened it up, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. It's got huge ceilings, right? Somebody was doing some planning in here. But this area here, now this is actually a, I believe it's a ground tile or a ceiling tile, one of the two. I think it's a ground tile, because you can level it to ground. And if I climb up this ground tile, and I don't think I'll be able to because I think I'm too weighed down to climb it. But yeah, like look at this is like super steep. But anyway, up there, there's a whole area to walk in with like exposed veins. And I didn't like that. I was like, what the hell is that? So basically, I'm gonna level this whole kind of area. So I leveled all the internal part here down to water level. And I'm gonna do the same thing as I find veins. I'll just keep it going. So like here I found a gold vein here. So I'm on the search for veins. This is sort of my first tunnel, and I'm gonna keep digging that way. Or tunneling that way. And then I'll branch out as I go out from there. It would be kind of nice if this kind of caved in over here, because I don't really care about the veins that are in there too much. But anyway, that's kind of like the mine, which I've yet to totally do more mining in. I have a lot to do in there. Anyway, I finished this road here. Originally, like, none of this stuff was here. This was like just grass and stuff, and some leveled areas. Like this whole area was flat, but it was all grass and trees. So anyway, what I did was I made a low wall with a road that goes all the way around the entire deed. The low wall is blocking whatever animals come off the hills, because I get quite a few, and I have a couple of gates here. So now on the other side of this road, I'm gonna build the tall slate walls that kind of look like castle walls, and then that's gonna, you know, have two-layered kind of look to it. So there'll be the road, and then there'll be portcullises to enter into the actual deed from the castle-like walls. I kind of mimicked this design from a castle design, like a real medieval castle, where they basically did the same thing. They have a low outer wall, they have a road, and right next to that road they have the high walls that form the inner part of the castle area. And then they have, you know, towers and buildings inside the castle area for blacksmith, cookhouse, stuff like that. So that's kind of the plan I'm sort of following. But I'm also kind of following like a hybrid um, homestead slash medieval castle build. So I didn't want to make it too much like a medieval castle build because everybody does that. All I was really planning on doing was adding the walls, adding maybe 4 castle towers, so to speak, as separate buildings, and then adding the actual buildings inside. I'm not building a physical castle. I don't really need one, number one, and number two, I want my buildings to be purposeful, like useful. So like, I'll have my forge, my blacksmith, have the smelters and the forges and the ore. So for the ore, I'll have those BSB racks. You know, all of that stuff kind of decorates the interior and adds value to having a separate blacksmith building. Same with a cookhouse. I'll have like ovens in there and you know FSB planter rack. I don't think a planter rack needs to be outside to grow herbs. I think it could be indoors. So anyway, I'll do that, and then I'll set aside a space inside the castle, or inside the area here for a farm. I figured out with my other character I can mine about 60 tiles and get about 1,000 crops if I plant each tile with the same crop. So I don't need a huge farm. This is a temporary stables. This will be moved. I'm going to create a physical stables that can house, you know, a decent amount of horses. I don't want to have too many though. But enough anyway. The colors that I have here are pretty much the ones I like. So I like the black ebonies, I like the blood bays, the black silvers, and these chestnuts. And that's pretty much it. I don't really care so much about all the other colors. So I'm just gonna keep breeding these and just, you know, keep up with the 5-speed breeds, and that'll be enough for that. The colored mounts I have on this wagon right now are actually for my other characters. Those will get replaced by 5-speed mount ebonies, just like, you know, these two here. Or maybe, you know, once I have like 4 5-speed blood bays, I'll throw those on a wagon instead. Whatever, I have options, but so anyway, that's sort of like the initial setup for my deed, so to speak. And you know, when you come down here, there's animals, of course, that spawn here, and there's kind of like a sort of beach area, I guess you could call it. So I was thinking of maybe terraforming this and making it an actual beach, like a nicer looking beach area, and then you know, maybe throw some lounge chairs on it, or I don't know, make a little beach area out of it. Another thought I had is, since I'm on the ocean, maybe make a pool, and inside the pool like put sharks and like other sea animals in it, like octopus, shark, dolphins, stuff like that, just for something fun. So course, I haven't planned the design of what all the buildings are gonna look like in here or where they're gonna be placed. Right now I'm building a guard tower. I'm gonna sit it in this corner over here. And over there, you might have seen the archery tower that I'm building. So that'll stay in this corner. I probably should move it though, actually. Probably should move it like right here. I'll have to think about that. Yeah, you know what? I probably will. I probably will move it so that it's not sitting on the actual road. Maybe behind the wall once I build it. Anyway, I'll figure that out later. The placement of the towers. Now this wooden building here, it's kind of fancy looking. And originally I was gonna keep it here, but I totally changed my whole design. So like all this stuff that you see here is all gonna get moved. And this building is gonna go poof. I'm gonna destroy it. And I'm gonna rebuild because, like I said, you know, these racks and the forges are gonna go in their own building. I might have like an alchemy building with like barrels and all that kind of stuff. Anything liquid will go in that building. And then maybe I'll have like a little house where I can like sleep and stuff. The oven, I have another one on its way, so I'll have 2 ovens. The FSB planter rack is outside, so I'm gonna move all that in its own cookhouse building. Maybe I'll put clay and cooking together, just because they seem to go together, like planter racks for herbs. You need pottery to make the thingies to put inside. You know, you need pottery to make certain cooking items. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'll put kilns and the ovens in the same building, in the cookhouse building. This tailoring stuff I could put in the same building as, you know, my bed and stuff like that. This, of course, was my ramp that I had created. It's a bridge, actually, but it's gonna get destroyed now. Oh well. But at least, you know, it was an experiment to sort of see what it would look like inside a wood building. It's pretty decent looking if you put like arched walls. It kind of exposes the sides and underneath so you can look at it and walk underneath, as opposed to having solid walls where you wouldn't be able to walk underneath the stairs. So it's kind of cool to leave it open with like arched walls. And you need an arched wall at the bottom and at the top. And you need at least a few tiles in order to build one. So like I didn't really like the placement of this because my house, my wooden building here wasn't even big enough. Like I would have preferred this to be 1 tile ahead away from the double door, but again, none of it matters because I'm going to be getting rid of this anyway and getting rid of all the hedges and everything I planted here and replanting elsewhere once I figure out my plans. Oh, there's a little tiny little tree. Yeah, so basically that's sort of like my quick and dirty tour of my work in progress. I have a few decorative items, of course. A couple of Hodas. You know, the man versus bear. Man versus snake. Although it kind of looks like a woman, but whatever. Man versus snake. And then, you know, I have a trader that I put some materials on for storage purposes. I have a full altar for my Faux Priest and a Venora altar for my Vin Priest. I submitted a bug post regarding the flame that comes out of these lanterns, or not lantern, but oil lamps. So if you take a lamp like this and you place it on the ground and you light it, first of all, it doesn't look the color that you dyed it. It looks like a normal brass color. And the flame comes out the right spot. But for some reason, once you take it and you place it on top of something, the color of the item changes to the color you dyed it to. And the reason you dye it is to give it a different color light. And the flame appears in the wrong spot. So as you can tell, that flame should be coming out of the oil lamp, but for some reason it's not. It's coming out the side of it or whatever. It still looks cool though. I really don't care too much. I mean, it is a bug and it probably should be fixed, but um, probably an unintentional bug. More, not really a bug, more like a cosmetic error than anything. But yeah, they look kind of cool when you put them on top of an altar, and they stay lit all the time. So there's a constant flame there that doesn't go away, and it kind of keeps the area nicely lit. Otherwise, I use brass lamps for all my lighting needs. I like brass, so I have some Ebonora flags because I like the Ebonora theme stuff. I used to have 2 tall banners that were Ebonora, but they got looted when my other deed decayed. So this trash heap is gonna have to move. The deed token is gonna stay there, but that's no big deal. Same with the mailbox. I can't remember. I might be able to move the mailbox, but whatever. It's not a huge deal. I'll work around that. I have a little oil barrel here that I used the oil to fill all the lamps when I first lit them up. Of course, they don't need to be refilled anymore. And I got a couple snowmen to make snowballs for my larder. Yeah, so basically, I just want to build a deed that's functional and partially medieval looking, but partially not. More like a homestead would be. I've actually drawn a lot of ideas from the show on Discovery, Alaska's Last Frontier. There's also another show called Mountain Men that I like, and another show, what's the other one? There was one more. Mountain Men, Alaska's Last Frontier. Oh yeah, the Homestead Rescue as well. You get to see a lot of really interesting kind of ideas that people have. Like, for example, they'll like hollow out an area of a mountain or hill and build a wooden structure, put the wooden structure there, and then fill dirt on top of it. And it's basically like a cold cellar for cold storage of food items. That's kind of a neat idea. You could simulate that in the game as well, actually, because you could just tunnel into, say, rock, and then inside you could raise up the ceilings and stuff, and then build a wooden structure inside there and throw all your food in there. It wouldn't do anything as far as game mechanics go, but it would simulate like, well, this is what my food storage would be on a real homestead or whatever. Another thing that's kind of neat is wooden buildings. Obviously, a lot of homesteads use wooden buildings in real life. You know, they're all built from wood. But there's a lot of log homes, right? And they look cool. And that's one thing we don't have in this game. We don't have the ability to build log homes. And it would be really nice if we did. And, you know, instead of using, say, nails that we could just interlock a bunch of timber together and make a log home. Like, that would be really cool if they added log homes to the game with a different look. That way you could have an actual log home. I mean, if you think about it, the game kind of already does that with wooden palisade fences or whatever. You know, those big log-like fences. So it's not like it's impossible. I mean, I've already done it with fences, so to speak. So they could do something similar for like maybe, you know, buildings, another type of building. Um, Another neat thing would be if the building would take on the characteristic of the wood. So if I build an entire building out of, say, fir wood or walnut, that they'd appeared in different colors. So like a walnut colored building, an applewood colored building, like that would be kind of cool. Um, Same with maybe even some of the wood fences too. You can make like different colored fences with the different wood types. That would be nice. Um, but yeah, um, that's pretty much it, I guess, for the deed tour. There is a road up there somewhere. Yeah, I don't know where it goes. I've never gone up there yet. It seems to go up the mountain. To where it leads, I have no idea. It was here when I got here, and I don't know where it goes. You can see it's like above the wall there that I covered in slate, and I don't know where it goes. What I'd really like to do, coming back to the map for a moment, is if we could bridge this island to land and then connect it up with the highway system for the rest of Xanadu, then I'd be able to get wagoner deliveries in and out of the island here, which would be kind of nice. So that might be a nice little highway project to take on at some point, where I can connect the whole island here up to the highway system. But I don't really need it because I can get everything by boat, which is very fast actually because, you know, plotting a course between servers is super easy now. So, you know, to go between servers and sail and receive deliveries is super easy. People are able to easily get to me. Um, Having a wagoner though would be nice for some people who perhaps live on the inner parts of Xanadu and it still takes them a while to sail to the server border. So having a wagoner and a highway would be nice. Um, Again, another project for another time. Um, so today I've mostly been focusing on building this tower. I want to get that done. And I'd like to get the archery tower done, although I've noticed I fail a lot on the archery tower just because my fine carpentry skill isn't that high yet. It's only like 52. I think I'd probably have less fails if it was around 60. So I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll start building ships or something. Actually, no, that's not gonna help me because that's shipbuilding skill. I don't know. I need to get my fine carpentry up some more. I guess I'll just tough it out and build that archery tower with all the fails, and we'll see. Usually if I get bored of a task, I'll like switch between tasks. So one day I'll do walls, another day I'll do harbor work, another day I'll do towers, another day I'll play around in Deed Planner, whatever, right? That's kind of how I've been doing it. Um, but taking a break from grinding, which I did for a long, long time, and smithing, because that's what this character's main abilities are, is smithing. So blacksmithing 97.78, getting close to 98. Plate armor smithing is 94.28. That's going up. Um, there is an Impalong event coming up in December, Shrimpy's Impalong. So I'll probably be heading to that, and hopefully a lot of people throw in some plate into the forges so I can up my plate armor smithing. That would be nice to get that around like 96 or so, maybe higher. That allows me to pretty much imp my own dragon skill. And the higher my plate armor smithing skill is, the better off I'll be in terms of being able to imp my own armor quickly and easily. But yeah, I've been, eventually I want to do all the smithing skills. Been debating which one I want to do next, shields or jewelry. I'm thinking maybe doing either shields or jewelry. It's a tough call between the two. I do use shields from time to time, as well as two-handed weapons, just because extra protection, easier to heal up with life transfer on a weapon. So like my two-handed weapon is all designed for damage, and my healing with life transfer is done with with a long sword and a shield equipped. I switch weapons in battle, which is kind of nice to have that ability to do that. So I have a rare steel staff for my main two-hand weapon. It's got a lot of bloodthirst on it now. It's up to 7,000 bloodthirst. I got it when I had 2,500, so getting close to that 10k, another 3k, and I'll be maxed out on bloodthirst on that weapon. And it hits hard and it hits fast. It's way better than any other two-handed weapon I've tried, and actually it rarely takes any damage. I got this, it was 89 quality when I got it, and I've killed a ton of mobs, and it's still sitting at 89.72 quality. Since it's steel, and I also have a steel rune of Venora on it, you never hardly ever have to imp it, which is great. So it's actually quite nice. I consider this the best two-handed weapon in the game, pretty much. Just because it's so good at killing fast, it's easy to repair, it's got everything you want, especially if you get a high casted one, like I did. I had some casts improved on it, but do remember to shatter protect it if you want to get your weapon done, though. It's a good idea. You wouldn't want to poof your nice weapon due to a failed cast by a priest that ends up shattering it. There's no way for them to predict it, and it can always happen. There's always a chance, so it's good to shatter protect the weapon with metallic liquid. Mine still has 100 on it. Anyway, that pretty much sums up my first video. So I don't know when my next video will be. It'll depend on how much more I get done here, whether the Impalong comes up next. Maybe I'll stream at the Impalong. I'll probably end up streaming again soon anyway. And then we'll just go from there. So yeah, I guess I'll call it quits here for today. At least you got a glimpse of my new sort of project here. And again, all of this is going to change by the next time I stream, probably. A lot of this will probably have been moved or removed and changed and whatever. I'll probably have all the tall walls up by then. I might even have some towers up by then. But I'll make sure there's enough new stuff on the deed before I broadcast the deed itself again. And like I said, when the Impelon comes up, it's coming up in December. I'll probably stream during that event, and you guys can get a glimpse at what goes on at an Impelon. Impelon is just quickly in a nutshell is just a great way for new players, medium, advanced players. Doesn't matter how advanced you are, but it's a great way to skill up because people will come there, fill the forges full of items, or you know, in the case of other professions, you know, have other items there and other requests for things to be made or improved, and it gives you a great chance to get a lot of skill very quickly in a short amount of time. So save up all your sleep powders, save your like make some meals or some pizzas for affinity, and be sure to use your sleep powder and your sleep bonus and affinity food when you skill up at the Impelong. It's definitely a huge benefit, and with any luck, as you're imping all of those items during the event, maybe you'll get lucky and gain some affinities at the same time. So, and of course, you know, some people get lucky, they get their items rared, and sometimes you rare other people's items and they're happy that you're able to rare it for them. So, um, it's a good chance at getting some of your items rared if you get lucky. Um, Definitely if you have rare items that are low quality, bring them because um, higher level crafters will tend to focus on bringing those to the highest quality that they can. I usually do that myself as well. So if somebody brings a rare, I'll bump it up to at least 90 quality, if not higher, depending on my skill. Usually that's either blacksmithing or platesmithing, so for me anyway. If you have a lot of the same items like horseshoes for instance, try not to litter all the forges with those. Usually they designate a forge for those. Um, just because like a lot of us smiths have leveled up using horseshoes and we've done so many of them that we're tired of them. Sometimes we do them at Impelongs, but usually we leave those up to the lower skilled people to imp just because it gets them the skill they need more than for us higher level impers. Um, we tend to focus more on the tools, the weapons, the armors, stuff like that. Not so much horse gear. Um, yeah, and if you're gonna drop like a whole bunch of different items under your name, just beware to talk to some of the staffers and ask them if that's okay. Sometimes, you know, Empers will see a forge that's just filled with one person's items and be like, well, I'm not gonna do it all this work just for one person, and they skip over it and stuff. So you might want to communicate that with the Implong staff and make sure it's okay, and then maybe they can just put out a quick announcement saying, you know, hey, so and so has a lot of items in the forge, but it's okay, go ahead and imp those up, whatever, right? Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for listening and see you next time. So long.